your mom, through church and community affiliation activity. Your mom was always involved, and you was always with your mom. So that's how we kind of got connected. Then later down the line, we got connected business-wise.
Okay, wonderful. That's right. Really, we were discussing it. I think since 2005, we've been working in business together. So that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a
Wow,
long time.
that's a long time. And you know, this thing disconnected us again. This is so crazy. Well, listen, let's go ahead and I'm going to continue to record this, and then I'm going to upload it as a video from YouTube that everybody can watch. Is that okay with you?
Okay, that'll be fine.
Okay, so Miss Lambert, today, as I said, I had read some information where retirees may have been affected or may not have been affected during the COVID-19 shutdown. There may be some issues or some direction that they needed to take or be concerned about during this time. Can you tell me some of the things that retirees may be, and we're going to come back because I want you to give us some history about your retirement and what happened. But can you tell us some of the things that may have been addressed or may be a concern to retirees at this time of the COVID-19 shutdown?
Sure. One of the things as a retiree you may be concerned about is your health benefits. If you have to go to the doctor, if you're admitted to the hospital, how does it affect your prescription? Some things your insurance may or may not cover. That is one of the concerns. I'm quite sure insurance companies have received phone calls as to whether or not this visit going to be covered. If I have to be tested, will my insurance cover this? So there's a number of things that as a retiree that you are concerned about because your insurance is limited in the sense that some people, well, you may get into that later concerning your Medicare. Do you have Medicare? Do you have Medicare supplement? Do you have Medicaid? What type of insurance do you have? And you are concerned about the coverage at this point.
Wow. Now, I really hadn't thought about the health benefits and being concerned about Medicaid and Medicare. Okay, so being concerned about Medicaid, exactly, can you tell me what's that concern? Is it whether there'll be enough money to cover? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. With all the testing throughout the United States that calls for additional funding. Mm-hmm. So will Medicare be eliminated? Will it be cut short? Will your benefit be, denied based upon the availability of fundings? And then now, well, even before, Medicare only paid 80% of your bill, your medical bill. Mm-hmm. The other additional funding have to come from a supplement. Do you have that insurance? Is that 20% you might have been able to handle just normally on a normal basis? Suppose you are one of the COVID-19 victims. Suppose you do have the coronavirus. This is a spike in your insurance. You haven't to go to the doctor times that you hadn't originally planned. So how much of this is going to be covered? Are you going to be able to manage the 20%? Will you be able to get any assistance from the government concerning this? These are all questions that you have to come up with answers for.
Wow. Like, that's amazing because I never thought about that. But I know that with different insurance and different types, they pay for different things. But were they ready to carry or take care of the virus
That's
that
true.
hits and the bills and things that are going to come with that. And we already know you get a mountain of bills. You get a bill for a Band-Aid, a bill for a gown, a bill for the person that checked you in, the one to put something up your nose, in your back, around your arms, and finally you get to the doctor, the hospital, the Indian chief.
And
And so,
that's a real concern, yes.
right, that is a major concern. I had not thought about that myself, but thank God nobody yet around me has, in my immediate family, has been attacked by that virus. So certainly I can understand how retirees must feel about this issue. So what other issues I got an email from Social Security a couple of days ago from the Social Security Administration. And I think I posted the link out on Facebook because they were talking about the trust of the Social Security. And that as far as right now, I think what it says, the information, I should have printed it to read it exactly, but I'll post it again for those who are listening. But it was saying that right now, the trust of the Social Security had not been affected by everything, which is good, right?
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Mhm.
That's right now. Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of the other concerns, which is always even before this, is the fact that Social Security is a benefit for retirees, those who are disabled. But even at that, as much as we in America, we are glad for the Social Security system, the Social Security in itself is not our way out. It is a supplement. And so many times as individuals, even as during our working years, people state that they are looking forward to retiring, to receiving Social Security. Social Security will not support your lifestyle.
Mhm.
Just look at if your earnings are, let's say $40,000, $45,000 a year, and you retire. Now you're going to retire. I tell everybody you're going to retire either voluntarily or involuntarily. That's the
Mhm.
reason you must be prepared. If you retire and begin to receive Social Security, how much do you think you're actually going to receive? Sometimes people think, hey, I'm going to go fishing every day. Social Security going to take care of everything. And perhaps it will, depending on your lifestyle. But say, for instance, if you used to earning and trying to make it support yourself on 40 to 45,000, and you are able, so you're one of the ones, fortunately, you can receive $2,000 a month.
Mhm. Wow.
$2,000 times 20.
Mhm.
I mean, look at what your benefit, what your income has dropped to. We
Mhm.
struggle sometimes to make it off of the 40 to 45,000.
Mhm.
How will $24,000 affect the household?
Wow.
So these are some things you have to plan for, to look forward to understand that Social Security will not necessarily support my lifestyle. So I have to come
Mhm.
up with a plan. That means that I have to look towards some other area. Maybe the thrift saving if I'm a federal employee,
Mhm.
401k, or an investment retirement account. But
Mhm.
these are the things that you must look forward to, must plan for before you can enjoy a retirement life.
Wow. So that brings me up to the question. At one point, I asked you in an interview, a previous interview, or a training we were having. I said, Miss Lambert, I know I had read where other financial experts had said, like, start planning for retirement around 24, 25. You answered differently. You told us, what is the age that you think this, you mentioned these 401ks, all this kind of stuff. what age do you think actually retirement planning starts?
I believe at the age of 18, you should begin thinking with the end in mind. That is, if I'm planning to retire, what question do I need to be asking now? At age 18, you have time to go through the trials and errors. You have time to invest. You can afford to lose and regain. You can make some mistakes. Plus, at age 18, you have time to aggressively move towards retirement. And when you approach that retirement age, say you do decide to wait until 60, 62, 65, then you can begin to ease up. So many times the mistake we make is we wait until we're 30, 40 years old, then we start trying to plan. We have missed 20 years that should be a foundation to build on. We have lost so much time. So start at age 18, you training your mind, getting your mindset. What are your goals for retirement? What is it you want to achieve? And then depending on where you want to retire, where you planning to live, will depend on what type of money do you need to support yourself. Will you have a mortgage? Or are you going to buy another car? What other expenses will you have? And one of the things we do not look at is the health care, your insurance benefit. When you retire, many times you have disconnected from the group insurance coverage that you've had. And you have to pick up a supplement. This is additional expense. If you're fortunate to reach the age of 65, then you do not have a choice concerning Medicare. You must get Medicare. You're looking at a $130 premium, or you prepare for that. And then Medicare do not cover your drug, prescription drugs. So how you going to get your medicine? So all of these are questions. If you begin at age 18, by the time you hit 65, you could be smooth sailing.
Wow. Now that is a lot to think about in actuality. I looked at some of the things, and incidentally, I'm trying to. Right. Okay. Miss Lambert, we are live on YouTube at this point. Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Miss Lambert.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
I can.
Okay, I'm trying to look like we're getting feedback. So just a moment, just give me just a moment. I was going on live on YouTube, and I'm actually gonna post this. I'm gonna test to make sure I don't get any feedback. Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
Minimize Zoom when you are recording on this meeting. Okay. So I'm going to, you give me just a minute. I'm going to pull up, I'm gonna go back to Facebook and see if I can actually get to Facebook and put our live link on there, okay?
Okay.
Because this is real important information. So I want them to be able to actually hear this, and this is the only other way I'm trying to make this work today, where they can actually hear us, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just a minute. I'm going to see if I can turn my, okay, I got that on mute, but you can still hear me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, there's a will, there's a way. Let's hope and pray that this continues to stay connected. So you were just giving us some great information talking about um, our starting from 18, and I'm just repeating this and kind of bringing this up because I want to lead to something, our next subject, okay? Bringing
Okay.
us up to the pet, you said starting to plan retirement starts at 18. And then I like it, and I ask you, why did you say 18 outside of the other experts where you were saying that people had to, at 18, needed to plan for the end game? I love the way you put things. At the, you might look like the young people did not need to hear this, do not need to learn this, but you're saying there's going to be an end game to your situation, and that end game is retirement, and how you retire makes all the difference in the world. So you talked about, actually in there, you talked about the reason. You was talking about there was time to lose and regain. I'm assuming, and some of that we are referring to uh, investments,
That's right.
savings. We might have time to lose and regain. What is it? Gain debt, pay gain, pay debt off,
Get your credit. Yes.
your credit, all of these things, so that when you do retire, these are not the things that you have, because in case they miss it, I think they can see us now. In case they missed it, they got to understand that these are the things that are going to affect your retirement, as to whether or not you can actually live. You can actually live on that $2,000 you were talking about in retirement. As opposed to what you retire on now. When it comes to Social Security, we know that we're going to have to do some retiring. And so guess what? That means that we're going to lose some money if that's all we have. I think that's what you were talking about. And I wanted to bring this, and I like what you said. You said they could aggressively, aggressively move things forward so that by the time they reach 62 to 65 years old, then they can pull back and relax. And you even mentioned in our
Right.
minds, we
Right.
think that retiring was going to be what you said, like going fishing every day, laying back and relaxing instead of going to work at Walmart or ring the bell, at Christmas and so forth. So with that being said, I think you bundled it up to say that Social Security was okay, but Social Security was never in place to replace our income at retirement. It was
That
only
is correct.
okay, okay,
That is correct.
okay. So with that being said, I wanted to move to some experience that you may have had, even when you and this is going to lead into our planning for our wills and all these kind of things. But when you got ready to go retire, I remember there was something that happened with the Social Security Administration that you needed to fix. Can you speak to that for a moment?
Yes. The problem was they did not have all of my years recorded. That was the problem, and I was able to recoup those years. So that brings us to another point. Pay attention to those little notices that you get from Social Security. Pay attention to where you work, the number of quarters, your earnings per year. Pay more attention to that. That is the reason if you begin at age 18, there's some questions and some things that you can ask. There's some things that you can learn. Some things that I did not have any idea about until I was older. We have so many avenues now. We are all without excuse. Uh, so there's so much information out there. We just need to grab hold to that. Yes, I was able to recoup those years, and add that into my Social Security. Along with your Social Security, I encourage everybody to, you have the opportunity to go to work for an employee who matches your salary and match a certain percentage. You have the chance to set aside a saving or investment plan, but please do not go through life with the mindset that you're gonna lay back and enjoy Social Security if you have other goals, things in mind, because Social Security will not do it. Social Security alone.
Wow, exactly. So that's what we've been trying to tell everybody. It's kind of hard to tell everybody, and especially with this economic stimulus check situation going on, we have a lot of people who have been complaining. A lot of I got on a live feed yesterday, and it saddened me, and I didn't know to begin with, but I was trying to explain to the people who were really crying out and saying, we needed our Social Security check, is not enough to carry us through. And in my mind, not trying to be ugly at all, in my mind, I was saying you were probably, Social Security was not carrying you over to actually begin with, right? Because you already had some deficits going on by not pre-planning. Okay, pre-planning, like you said, at the age 18, or heaven forbid, some say 23 or 24, but no, getting ready to retire, we know when you turn 50, 55, although we can go ahead and try to recover as much as possible, that's pretty much on a late bus if you start planning, if you start waiting to plan then. So give us some planning, some very important planning. You mentioned health insurance. You mentioned, oh gosh, you mentioned what age to start, the situation of having to go back and recoup your job situation for retirement. But now we really need to look into insurance. We know during this COVID-19, people died. That's another issue. People died. You know, I experienced that where my uncle was dead. Now, nobody asked me for any money, but it was the same circumstance or situation around the COVID, because there didn't seem to be no government issued funds to bury anybody who died from COVID-19. So with that in mind, let's talk about covering yourself in the event. We're talking about the end game, right? You brought that up, the end game. So let's talk about those things you put in place to cover yourself in the end game, okay, so to speak.
Yes, Ms. Pace, we have to go through life. We don't want to go with a spirit of fear, but reality. What if I have to retire at 45 versus 65? Am I prepared? What if someone, or if I, or a community spouse, or you have to go to a long-term care facility? We have to plan for these things. Do my family, are they aware of our insurance? Do we have insurance? Lack of insurance, especially barrier insurance, life insurance, seem to be a thing of the past. So many times, I am employed by Paradise Funeral Home, and some of the things that we run into, I'm quite sure all the funeral homes do, is that so many families not prepared for burial, to bury their loved one. They do not have any type of burial insurance. People, this is a part of life. This is a part of your financial portfolio, is to have coverage for your families. There's so many avenues now. Traditional life insurance. You have burial plans. You have the prearranged plans. but by all means, plan. And so that you won't agree, you appointed, we won't have to go to the GoFundMe or ask anyone. We'll be prepared ourselves. We are responsible for ourselves. So you have to look at all of that. And if that's another advantage of starting early. If you began at age 18, your premium is so much cheaper than waiting until you get 50, 60 to try to get life insurance. There are so many pre-existing conditions that would cause your premium to be so much higher. So put insurance in your plan as well. Ms. Pace, another thing you may want to look at when we're talking about the final expenses, put it in writing. Do a will. If you have children or you have someone designated to take care of your affairs, if you have property, you have access that you have to divide, make sure you put that in writing. Do a will. Go to an attorney. If you got a normal piece of property that you have to distribute, or you know that you can do it yourself, but you want to be sure that you are legally covered if you have to go to court. But putting a will, putting things in writing can save a whole lot of heartache, so many pain, because even at that, we get families before us who think, and revisit your insurance. If you have an insurance policy, revisit it from time to time to make sure you don't need to change your beneficiaries.
Yes.
Make sure the one that you have in place have not passed. Make sure you keep all this information updated and someone in charge to know where this information can be found. You may want to look at a safe deposit box at your bank to make sure you document your birth certificate, social security card, ID, your deeds, your will, your policy, all your important information, and make sure the person you leave in charge is aware of your wishes.
Wow, because you know, when you said that, it was a couple that came to me that down to their funeral program. It scared me so bad because they kept calling. I said they calling and they kept saying, I want you to do our funeral program. I want you to do our funeral program. I'm going, now ain't they living? And I said, she made a mistake and wouldn't even call back because I kept saying, this lady making this mistake. She is living. Did she not know that she's calling me, asking me to design her funeral program? But she said, listen, I love what you do. I've seen what you do, and I don't want my family members having to do anything. Although they didn't come to me when something happened, she still tried to prepare what she wanted for her, she and her husband at the time of death. So this is important. I keep hanging on that end game. And then I think about, Ms. Lambert, some of the emotions you mentioned. It helps our families. It helps our families to be prepared, to have wills in place, to have your, and then starting at 18, you mentioned something about having that, the burial or these things paid up, paid off. You know, we wouldn't even have to have insurance and all.
That's right.
And I know insurance agents don't want us to say this, but we wouldn't have to have all of this insurance and be premium poor if we would start early, because if I want a $7,000 funeral, I could actually go to a funeral home and have enough time to pay them what? Can't I do that? Pay $7,000 and say, this is all I want spent for my family to spend for my funeral. I got plenty of time to pay that off. And then I could save, because I want to interject in here, since we are financial educators, to educate people a little bit about insurance real quickly, because I think people retire and they are convinced to have to purchase more insurance. Okay, I've seen people retire And I tell you what, some of these agents, they go after them. Well, you're going to need insurance for this, insurance for that. Then how about insurance, all your grandkids and all this? I know they mean well, but sometimes people are insurance poor, or they don't even know. Sometimes there are stacking clauses that may not pay out. Sometimes you may have one that's going to pay out for every, and we just get insurance everywhere. When, check this out, if people would start early, pay that $7,000 off, whatever you want to pay, if they would pay that off early, Miss Lambert, don't you think that's more money that could be redirected to an investment vehicle? Because when you look at insurance, we pay them a premium monthly, but insurance company reinvest what we pay them at a much higher rate of return than we actually get from our money. Is that true or not?
And that's correct. And over a period of time, we probably paid 10 times for our funeral, so that is an excellent point. If we know what we want to expend on our service, that is a prearranged policy plan. So go and take care of that versus the insurance. Now, the insurance have its advantages if you are a parent with minor children, if you want to have some things in place for them. But that's again, being educated, you can revisit all of this and see what it is that you need or do not need. So saving, investing, just good financial planning is important.
Wow. So you got savings, investing, taking a look at your beneficiaries now again or often to make sure that's in place. One of the saddest things is when my mom passed at the bank, she did not have either one of us on there as the beneficiary. So we lost that money. They didn't have that money. We lost that money that she had in the bank.
That's right.
And she didn't have thousands of dollars, but she had some good money in there that we couldn't even take out. Just so happened at one of the furniture stores, they actually knew my mom and loved my mom. And they said, here, your mama had been paying for this, that, and the other. We're giving you all that money back because we love Miss Robbie Team. Everybody ain't like that. It's just different places. And we'll be so unprepared. So I think that this really does it today. As much as we've had, I shouldn't have started doing that. I want to start crying. But, we're not beating up anybody. Okay. We're not beating up anybody.
That's correct.
We're just trying to be a catalyst in changing your mindset and redirecting your finances so that when these things happen, when you get a stimulus check, people are saying, I need that stimulus check to catch up my. Listen, they bills weren't paid before the stimulus check was coming.
That is correct.
Things were out of order before then, and now they're beating us down at the door, texting, calling. They're in a rush for money that never was promised to them to begin with. Some of us, Susie Orman, she living through this, she having no issue. Dave Ramsey, he's not having no issue. Trump ain't having no issue. There's so many people that's really not having an issue because they had these things in place and they were prepared. So we got to come out of COVID-19. We got to come out of this. And there's a praise song, so I'm coming out with my hands lifted up in praise. Listen, I'm afraid somebody ain't gonna be praising, but hopefully we coming out of this with more education, a better direction on what we want to do and how we want to spend our money and be better. With that being said, I want to bring closure to our interview, although I want to cry because we couldn't do this on Facebook. I got to go fix that before Sunday school, but see what Zoom can tell me. But Miss Lambert, I want you to leave us with our last words of wisdom I'm just gonna let everybody know before you do that, that I will be back on tomorrow. We're gonna figure this out one way or the other, and I'll be back on. I'm gonna talk about business credit, okay? But you leave us with our last words of wisdom for retirees planning for retirement, and then that's gonna be it for today. And thank you so much. This is why I hang with you. Because of all that wisdom you have, and you can impart into me and other youngins. All right.
All right. If you are planning, by all means, look forward to retirement. Retirement to people mean something different for every person. Some people retire meaning that I will not return to work in any form or fashion. Some people retirement mean I'm retiring from this agency. I'm gonna work part-time over here. But the fact of the matter is, when you leave a job saying that you're retired, your income situation changes. Are you ready to meet the challenge? That means less income from this source. Have you made the adjustment from somewhere else? Are you planning to maintain the same lifestyle? What are you going to do differently? How you made the adjustment again? Have you paid off your mortgage, or will you be renting? Or will you have a car note? Or you plan to travel? How you plan to meet these benefits? Retirement can be great, awesome, but you must plan. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I worked for DHS 23 years, and my heart went out to those seniors who had to make a decision between eating and getting their medication. So many of them have spent their lifetime working on a job that at this point was to no avail. I mean, that job couldn't help them now. What are you going to do for the future? So your retirement should be stress-free. You should be able to enjoy your life, but that is not always the case. So again, please plan and prepare for an awesome retirement. Thank you.
Awesome. This has been our part 3 financial series from Shekinah Services LLC. I'm Clarissa Pace, CEO of Shekinah Services. We'll see you guys on tomorrow. Thank you, Ms. Lambert.